Today, PCTV Reports joins Park City High School and Treasure Mountain students as they have a really unique opportunity to hear the life story of a Holocaust survivor. This man has told his story all around the world and greatly impacts everyone who hears it. Let's talk to our students and see what they thought.
This is unlike something that we've ever done before. Normally we have pep rallies or preparation for prom or whatever it may be. This has by far been one of the most impactful and serious, most beautiful assemblies we've ever had.
Like when anyone gives a presentation about the Holocaust, we're reminded of how shocking and how horrific it is. We need people like Steve and Nasser to remind us like how horrible it was, like to remind us like that it was like very real and very, very terrible, and to remind us to not let it ever happen again.
He has that different perspective, a perspective that almost no one in the world has to this day. Everyone's standing up, grabbing each other's hands and just looking around, and everything he said about this country and, you know, our standards and what we stand for, and the fact that he says not to take freedom for granted, and that was beautiful because sometimes we do, and I think that needed to be said.
I made a promise to my brother who died in my arms that I'm going to talk to high school students, and also for them to understand freedom is not free. It is very important because I cannot blame the students. They live today and they take everything for granted. And I'm glad they can take everything for granted because they never went through any type of Holocaust or disturbance. I did, but I want to remind them that to appreciate the love they get from the family, not just to take it for granted, because that's a gift from God. We were so close to each other. We had that bond what the Nazis could not separate us.
The story of just the one Nazi officer who he kind of had this little rapport with, just to show, I think, like the fact that with Nazis and with bullies everywhere, there's humanity to them. They're not like unfeeling monsters where if they believe one thing that they're going to believe that for the rest of their life. Like, you have an opportunity to communicate with them to change that.
I'm going to be voting in the next primary election, so I think it's important to be educated. When all these things were happening to the Jewish people, like, no one said anything. So I think it's important for us to hear what he has to say, so we can be politically engaged and not let things like this happen again, and to stand up against bigotry.
Everybody, when I came out of the theater, everybody was talking about how some assemblies you get a lot from it, but you don't the next day you don't really remember it. People are still talking about the assembly today. They're still talking about how this is intense stuff and this is the real world and the past happens. So I think that my classmates and I took a lot more from this assembly specifically than we have from past assemblies, and it was really, it's gonna be apparent in our lives for the rest of our lives. We will all remember this.
We're going to have to make decisions. We're going to have to make decisions in elections and things like that. But just again, getting to experience that primary source, to hear such a personal understanding of it, just ensures that for the rest of our lives, we're not going to forget what happened, and that we're always going to remember that and make sure it never happens again.
It's really, really, really important for the students to be prepared for the real world. That's the whole point of school. And if we don't know about real world past experiences, then how are we going to find a way not to repeat them?
Just looking back and seeing everybody either in tears or just being awestruck by what they're not only seeing but hearing, and I know this is going to stick with them for quite some time.
My outlook on life is very, very positive. I have all those years behind me, and a lot of negative things has happened. And thank God I have the capability, when I'm looking back into my past, I only try to follow and take out the positive effect what I kept in my mind, because the positive, it leads you the correct way. If you only keep thinking about the negative, it becomes anger and drag you down, and anger is far away from me. I just keep on living. I try to promote freedom and liberty, what everybody should have, and love is much stronger than hate, and that's what I want other people to realize.
That's it for PCTV Reports. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be right back.